Before Ebere could gather her thoughts, Chief Obi raised his staff. The crowd immediately became silent.
Ebere, the elders have reached a decision.
Ebere's heart pounded. Her arms tightened around Leo and Chimamanda. The twins began crying, as though they could sense the danger around them.
Chief Obi, please. I have done nothing wrong. I swear on the lives of my children.
Tears streamed down her face, but Chief Obi's expression did not change.
The decision has been made.
Please. My babies are only 5 days old. Where will I go?
The villagers watched. Not one person stepped forward. Not one person defended her.
You must leave Umuaka before sunset.
The world stopped. Ebere stared at him, unable to believe what she had just heard. Ebere could not believe what she was hearing. The elders had made their decision. Before sunset, she and her newborn twins would be forced to leave Umuaka. Tears streamed down her face. She looked desperately toward Uzo, the father of her children, the man she had loved, the man she had trusted. Surely he would stop this. Surely he would defend her. Surely he would not allow the mother of his children to be driven away like a criminal. But he didn't. Instead, Uzo stood silently among the villagers, cold, distant, unmoved. In that moment, Ebere understood something painful. The man she had married was gone. The man standing before her was a stranger. Something inside her shattered completely, and for the first time in her life, Ebere felt truly alone. Slowly, she turned away from the crowd, holding Leo and Chimamanda tightly against her chest, and without another word, she walked away. Away from her home, away from her marriage, away from the only life she had ever known. Behind her, the villagers watched. None of them realized they were witnessing the greatest mistake Umuaka would ever make. The sun was beginning to set, and Ebere had nowhere to go. Ebere stepped beyond the edge of the village. The sky darkened. Heavy clouds gathered overhead. A cold wind swept across the road. The twins began crying again. Their tiny cries pierced Ebere's heart. She looked down at Leo and Chimamanda. Both babies were hungry. Both babies were exhausted, and she had nothing to give them. Nothing except her love. Tears filled her eyes, but she forced herself to keep walking, one step at a time, one painful step after another. As darkness slowly covered the land, fear began to creep into her heart. Where would she sleep? How would she protect her babies? What would happen if they became sick? For the first time since leaving the village, Ebere stopped walking. She looked behind her. Far in the distance, she could still see Umuaka, the village where she had been born, the village where she had grown up, the village where she had fallen in love, the village that had just rejected her. A fresh wave of tears rolled down her cheeks. She wanted to go back. She wanted to run home. She wanted to wake up and discover that everything had been a terrible dream. But deep down, she knew there was no home waiting for her anymore. Then the rain began. At first, it was only a few drops, then more. Within minutes, a heavy downpour was falling from the sky. Ebere quickly searched for shelter, but there was nothing. Only trees, bushes, and darkness. The twins cried louder. Their tiny bodies trembled from the cold. Panic gripped Ebere. She removed part of her wrapper and carefully covered them. Then she ran toward a large tree, breathing heavily, praying desperately, begging God not to let anything happen to her children. The rain continued for hours, and by midnight, Ebere was soaked, exhausted, hungry, and terrified. Suddenly, she noticed something. Leo had stopped crying. At first, she thought he had fallen asleep, But then she touched his face. Her heart nearly stopped. His skin felt unusually warm. Very warm. Fear shot through her body. Then she touched Chimamanda. The little girl was also burning with fever. Ebere felt the world spin around her. Her babies were sick, and she had no medicine, no shelter, no help, no hope. She hugged them tightly, and for the first time that night, she broke down completely, sobbing beneath the tree, begging God to save her children. Hours later, as dawn slowly approached, Ebere heard something. Footsteps. Slow footsteps. Coming toward her through the rain. Immediately, fear gripped her heart. She pulled the twins closer. The footsteps came nearer and nearer. Then a voice spoke, an elderly woman's voice, soft, gentle, kind. "Were you out here all night?" Ebere slowly lifted her head. Standing before her was an old widow, a woman she had never seen before. The woman stared at the babies, then at Ebere, and suddenly tears appeared in her eyes, because she already knew. Something terrible had happened to this young mother, and what she did next would change all of their lives forever. The old widow slowly knelt beside Ebere. For a moment, neither woman spoke. The rain had finally stopped, but the damage had already been done. The twins were still burning with fever. The widow gently touched Leo's forehead. Her expression immediately changed.
These children need help.
Ebere's lips trembled. She had cried so much that she no longer had tears left.
I have nowhere to go.
Shh, my child, you are not alone.
The old woman looked at her carefully. She saw the fear, the exhaustion, the heartbreak. Most of all, she saw a mother trying desperately to protect her children. Without another word, the widow stood up. Then she extended her hand. Ebere's lips trembled. She had cried so much that she no longer had tears left.
Come with me.
Ebere stared at her. She could hardly believe what she was hearing. After everything that had happened, someone was finally showing her kindness. The old woman's name was Mama Grace. She lived alone in a nearby farming community. Her husband had died many years earlier. Her only son had also passed away. Since then, she had lived by herself. When Mama Grace brought Ebere home, she immediately prepared warm water. Then she wrapped Leo and Chimamanda in dry blankets. For the first time since leaving Umuaka, Ebere felt safe. That night, she slept on a real bed. And for the first time in days, she slept without fear. The following morning, Mama Grace took the twins to a nearby health center. The nurse examined both babies. Fortunately, the fever had not become serious. The children were treated immediately. When Ebere heard they would recover, she fell to her knees and thanked God. Weeks passed, then months. Slowly, Ebere began rebuilding her life. At first, she worked on farms, she cleaned houses, she sold vegetables in the market. She accepted every honest job she could find. The work was exhausting, but Ebere refused to give up. Every coin she earned was carefully saved. Every opportunity was seized. Every setback became a lesson. And Mama Grace stood beside her through it all. Years passed. The small vegetable stall became a shop. The shop became 2 shops, then 3. What began as survival slowly became success. 10 years after leaving Umuaka, Ebere's life looked completely different. The frightened young mother who had once slept beneath a tree with newborn twins was gone. In her place stood a confident and respected businesswoman. People traveled from different communities to buy from her stores. She employed dozens of workers. Many people knew her as Madame Ebere. Few knew the painful story behind her success. Ebere built a beautiful modern home. She bought Mama Grace a house of her own beside hers. The old widow who had saved her life never had to worry about money again. And every evening, Ebere would sit on her veranda watching Leo and Chimamanda play in the garden. Those moments reminded her why she had never given up. The village that rejected her had expected her to fail. Instead, she had become more successful than anyone could have imagined. Yet despite her success, Ebere never became bitter. She remained humble, she remained kind, and she never taught her children to hate anyone, not even Uzo. Leo and Chimamanda grew into intelligent and hard-working young adults. Everyone who met them loved them. Leo was calm and thoughtful. Chimamanda was fearless and determined. Both excelled in school. Both dreamed of making a difference in the world. And every achievement they earned reminded Ebere that her sacrifices had not been in vain. One evening, when Leo and Chimamanda were 17 years old, they sat with their mother on the veranda of their beautiful home. The sun was setting. The air was calm. For a while, they talked and laughed together. Then Leo suddenly became serious.
Mother, why don't we have a father?
The question hit her like a knife. For years, she had known this day would come. For years, she had hoped she would be ready. But she wasn't. Chimamanda looked at her too, waiting, wanting answers. For several seconds, Ebere remained silent. Then she took a deep breath, and for the first time, she told them everything. Everything about Umuaka, everything about Ada, everything about Uzo, everything about the day their lives changed forever. When she finished, silence filled the air. Leo stared into the distance. Chimamanda wiped tears from her eyes. Neither of them knew what to say, because they had just discovered that their mother had sacrificed everything for them, and that the greatest injustice of her life had never been corrected. But none of them knew that far away in Umuaka, the truth buried for 17 years was finally beginning to rise to the surface. Far away in Umuaka, life had not stood still. The village that had celebrated Ebere's disgrace was no longer the same. Many of the elders who had stood in the village square that day had grown old. Some had passed away. The once busy market had become quiet. Several farms had failed after years of poor harvests. People whispered that the village had lost its blessing. Chief Obi had become an old man. His beard had turned completely gray. His once powerful voice had grown weak. Yet there was one memory that never left him. The day Ebere walked away carrying her newborn twins. Many nights he woke from sleep thinking about it. Many times he wondered, had they condemned an innocent woman? Meanwhile, Uzo's life had become a shadow of what he had imagined. Not long after Ebere left, he married Ada. At first, everything seemed perfect. Ada moved into his house. She wore expensive clothes. She enjoyed the respect that once belonged to Ebere. But happiness built on lies never lasts. Years passed. Ada never gave Uzo the family they had dreamed about. Their marriage became filled with arguments. The money Ada's wealthy family once provided slowly disappeared. Business opportunities failed. Their farms produced little. Debt began to pile up. The proud man who had publicly rejected his wife was now struggling just to survive. Many evenings, Uzo sat alone outside his house, silently staring into the distance. Sometimes he thought about Leo and Chimamanda. He wondered what they looked like. He wondered whether they were still alive. But pride stopped him from searching. He told himself it was too late. One afternoon, travelers arrived in Umuaka from a neighboring town. As the villagers gathered around, one of the visitors smiled. "I bought supplies from Madame Ebere's supermarkets today." The name froze Uzo where he stood. Chief Obi slowly lifted his head. "What did you say?" The traveler laughed. "Madame Ebere. She owns several successful businesses. People come from different communities to buy from her. They say she is one of the most respected businesswomen in this region." The entire village became silent. Someone whispered, "Ebere." Another villager shook his head. "It cannot be her." But deep inside, Chief Obi felt something he had not felt in many years, hope and fear. Because if the woman they had cast out had truly become Madame Ebere, then perhaps the truth they buried 17 years earlier had finally returned. And with it, the day of reckoning had begun. The traveler looked around in confusion. He could not understand why everyone had suddenly become silent. No one answered. The villagers exchanged uneasy glances. Then, one by one, they turned toward Chief Obi. The old chief lowered his head. His hands trembled as he gripped his wooden staff. For 17 years, he had convinced himself that the elders had done the right thing. But hearing Eber's name again shook him to his very core. The traveler continued speaking.
Madame Ebere is known everywhere. People respect her. She has helped countless families. I've never heard anyone speak badly of her.
Each word struck the villagers like a hammer. The same woman they had called a witch had become a blessing to so many. An elderly woman covered her face and began to cry. Another villager slowly whispered,
We made a terrible mistake.
Not far away, Uzo stood frozen. His heart pounded. The memories came rushing back. Ebere kneeling in the village square, her tears, her trembling voice. "My babies are only 5 days old." Then, the moment he turned his back on her, for the first time in 17 years. Regret overwhelmed him, but deep inside, he knew the truth. Some mistakes can never be undone. Just then, a loud voice echoed across the village. Everyone turned. A village messenger came running toward Chief Obi. His clothes were covered in dust. He could barely catch his breath. When he finally spoke, the entire village fell silent.
Chief Obi, someone has returned to Umwaka.
The villagers looked toward the entrance of the village. Their hearts began to race. Was it Ebere? Or had the past finally come back to demand justice? Slowly. A black luxury SUV came into view, then another. The vehicles rolled gently through the entrance of Umwaka. The entire village stood frozen. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The first vehicle came to a stop. A driver quickly stepped out. He walked to the rear door. Then he opened it. A beautiful woman stepped out. She stood quietly for a moment, looking at the village she had not seen for 17 years. It was Ebere, the same woman they had driven out, the same mother who had walked away carrying newborn twins with nothing but hope. But this was no longer the frightened young woman they remembered. She stood tall, confident, graceful. Success had changed her life, but it had not changed her heart. Moments later, 2 young adults stepped out behind her, a handsome young man and a beautiful young woman, Leo and Chimamanda. The babies the village had rejected had grown into remarkable young adults. The villagers stared in complete disbelief. Some covered their mouths, others rubbed their eyes. They could hardly believe what they were seeing. Chief Obi's walking staff slipped from his trembling hands. It fell to the ground. Uzo stood rooted to the spot. His eyes never left Ebere. 17 years disappeared in a single moment. Every memory came rushing back. The tears, the cries, the betrayal, the day he destroyed his own family for the first time. He truly understood what he had lost. And deep inside, He knew that no amount of regret could ever erase the pain he had caused. The silence across Umuaka was so deep that even the wind seemed afraid to speak. For several long moments, no one spoke. The silence was almost unbearable. Then, Chief Obi slowly stepped forward. His hands trembled. His eyes filled with tears. For the first time in his life, the proud old chief knelt before Ebere. The entire village gasped. No one had ever seen Chief Obi kneel before anyone. His voice shook.
Ebere, forgive us.
Tears rolled down his cheeks. He lowered his head.
We failed you. We judged you without knowing the truth.
The villagers slowly lowered their heads. Many began to cry. Others could not even look Ebere in the eyes. The weight of their mistake had finally become impossible to ignore. Then, an elderly man slowly pushed his way through the crowd. His face was pale. His hands trembled. For 17 years, he had carried a secret that refused to let him sleep. He stopped in the middle of the village square. Every eye turned toward him. He took a deep breath. Then, with a shaking hand, he pointed directly at Ada. His voice echoed across the silent village as he confessed that the red cloth had never belonged to Ebere. It had been planted. The accusation had been a lie from the very beginning. A loud gasp swept through the crowd. Ada stumbled backwards. The color drained from her face. She searched desperately for words, but none came. The old man then turned slowly toward Uzo. With tears in his eyes, he revealed that Uzo had known the truth all along. Blinded by greed and the promise of wealth, he had chosen to betray his own wife and newborn children. The village erupted in shock. People could not believe what they were hearing. Some cried openly. Others covered their mouths in disbelief. Uzo's legs suddenly gave way beneath him. He collapsed onto his knees. For 17 years, he had hidden behind lies. But at last, the truth had found him. With tears streaming down his face, he slowly lifted his eyes toward Ebere. For the first time since she had left Umuaka, he understood the depth of the pain he had caused.
I have no excuse. I destroyed my own family. I'm sorry.
Ebere looked quietly at Uzo. There was no anger in her eyes, only sadness. Many years earlier, she had dreamed of hearing him admit the truth. She had imagined this moment countless times. But now, his apology no longer had the power to heal what had already been broken. Life had moved on. She had moved on. God had given her a new beginning. She turned and looked at Leo and Chimamanda. They stood proudly beside her, strong, kind, successful. Everything she had lost 17 years earlier had been restored in another way. Then Ebere slowly looked around the village, at Chief Obi, at the elders, at the people who had once rejected her. In her heart, she had forgiven them long ago. But she hoped they would never again judge another innocent person without first seeking the truth. The villagers lowered their heads. Many wept openly. No one could find the courage to speak. On that day, Umuaka learned a lesson that would be told for generations. That lies may succeed for a little while, but the truth always finds its way into the light. And the young mother who had once walked away from that village carrying 2 helpless newborn babies returned with honor, returned with respect, returned with a beautiful family, and returned as living proof that those who refuse to give up can rise higher than those who tried to bring them down. From that day forward, whenever parents in Umuaka taught their children the importance of truth, kindness, and justice, they told them the story of Ebere, the woman who lost everything yet gained far more than anyone ever imagined.